A Comanche woman, her face streaked with yellow paint, grips a flint knife as she stands over a trembling captive in 1840. Her eyes burn with grief for 12 slain leaders, betrayed at a Texan peace council. With precise cuts, she enacts a ritual of vengeance, not just cruelty, as historian T.R. Fehrenbach writes, to protect her people's spirit. Why did these women, often unseen yet vital to their tribe, wield such unrelenting power over life and death, shaping the Comanche legacy? Watch to unravel their fierce, heartbreaking story. In 1840, a brutal betrayal shook the Comanche nation. Texan soldiers, under the guise of a peace council in San Antonio, killed 12 Comanche leaders, including chiefs and warriors, who had come to negotiate. The Texans demanded the return of white captives, but when the Comanche arrived with few prisoners, violence erupted. This event, known as the Council House Fight, left 35 Comanche dead, including women and children, and sparked a firestorm of grief and rage. Historian S.C. Gwynn notes that the Comanche viewed this as a profound violation of trust, fueling their resolve for vengeance. The loss of these leaders, critical to the tribe's governance, drove the Comanche to retaliate, setting the stage for a cycle of violence on the Texas frontier. Comanche men mourned their fallen leaders with a solemn ritual. They took knives to their long hair, a sacred symbol of status and pride, cutting it short in a public display of sorrow. For the Comanche, hair was more than adornment. It represented strength and identity, often adorned with beads or feathers. By severing it, men signaled a deep personal and communal loss. This act, observed by young captive Booker Webster, was not mere tradition but a visceral expression of anguish, as documented by historian T.R. Fehrenbach. The ritual united the warriors in their grief, preparing them for the war that would follow the betrayal. Comanche women, however, expressed their grief through even more intense rituals. Clad in deerskin dresses, their faces painted with bright red or yellow ochre, they took flint knives to their arms and legs, carving deep cuts into their skin. This self-mutilation was a cultural practice, rooted in the belief that physical pain mirrored the tribe's emotional wounds. Some women, as Booker Webster recounted, slashed their breasts or thighs, letting blood flow freely to honor the dead. According to historian Pekka Hämäläinen, this ritual was a testament to their role as emotional and spiritual anchors, bearing the tribe's sorrow in their flesh. Some women pushed their mourning to harrowing extremes. In the wake of the 1840 massacre, a few, driven by unbearable grief, chopped off their fingers with stone blades, or inflicted wounds so severe they bled to death. Booker Webster, a captive who had learned the Comanche language, witnessed these acts among the Penateca Band. Historian John Moore estimates that such extreme self-harm occurred in fewer than 5% of mourning rituals but was significant enough to shock outsiders. These acts were not random. They reflected a cultural belief that profound loss demanded equally profound sacrifice, binding the community in shared suffering. As grief turned to fury, the women's rituals shifted from mourning to vengeance. They gathered wood and built fires, their hands steady as they sharpened stakes for a darker purpose. The air filled with the scent of burning cedar as they prepared to punish white captives. Historian T.R. Fehrenbach explains that this transition was not impulsive but a calculated cultural response aimed at restoring balance after the Texans' betrayal. The women, often under 5 feet tall yet hardened by their harsh lives, led these acts, their painted faces glowing in the firelight as they took control of the captives' fates. Comanche women carried the weight of the tribe's survival outside of warfare. They crafted clothing from deer hides, sewing intricate patterns with bone needles, and built tools like grinding stones for processing food. They also constructed the tribe's teepees, using buffalo hides stretched over cedar poles. These tasks were relentless, with women managing up to 20 teepees per band, each housing 8 to 12 people. Historian Pekka Hämäläinen notes that women's labor was the backbone of Comanche mobility, enabling the tribe to thrive across the Great Plains. Their work ensured the tribe could follow buffalo herds, sustaining a population of roughly 20,000 in the early 19th century. A single Comanche woman could set up a teepee in just 15 minutes and take it down in 5, a skill honed by necessity. Each teepee, weighing up to 200 pounds when packed, was loaded onto horses for transport across the plains. This efficiency allowed the Comanche to move camps 10 to 20 miles in a day, evading enemies like U.S. soldiers or rival tribes. Historian S.C. Gwynn highlights that this mobility, driven by women's labor, gave the Comanche a strategic edge, making them nearly impossible to pin down. Their speed and adaptability were critical to their dominance in the southern plains. After hunts, women processed the spoils with meticulous care. They skinned buffalo, often 50 to 100 animals per hunt, dried the meat to last months, and tanned hides for trade or use. By the 1830s, buffalo hides became a booming commodity, with traders paying up to $3 per hide. This trade, as historian John Moore documents, brought wealth but doubled the women's workload, as a single hide took 3 to 5 days to prepare. Women's expertise in tanning produced hides so durable they were sought after in markets as far as St. Louis, fueling the tribe's economy and influence. In the Comanche's polygamous society, a woman's value was tied to her labor. Men took multiple wives, sometimes 3 to 5 per warrior, to increase productivity, as each wife could process 10 to 15 hides monthly. This system, noted by historian Pekka Hämäläinen, created intense pressure on women who worked 12 to 14 hours daily. The more wives a man had, the greater his wealth, as their combined labor produced goods for trade. Yet, this structure also fostered competition among women who vied for status within the household, shaping a complex social dynamic. Unlike men, who wore long hair adorned with eagle feathers, women kept their hair short, often cropped to the chin, to avoid lice and ticks during constant travel. They painted their faces with red and yellow ochre, contrasting the men's black war paint, which symbolized death. These colors, drawn from natural pigments, reflected their practical yet vibrant identity. Historian T.R. Fehrenbach observes that women's appearance was a deliberate rejection of vanity, prioritizing function over status, yet their bright paint signaled their fierce spirit, equal to any warrior's. Though not trained as warriors, Comanche women were skilled horse riders and archers. They could hit targets from 50 yards while galloping, using bows crafted from Osage orange wood. During camp attacks, women, often wielding knives or captured rifles, fought alongside men. Texas Ranger reports from the 1840s describe women killing up to 10 enemies in a single skirmish. Historian S.C. Gwynn emphasizes that their skills were born of necessity, as raids by U.S. soldiers or rival tribes like the Apache threatened their survival. Texas Rangers and U.S. soldiers, numbering over 1,000-inch frontier patrols by 1840, recorded Comanche women fighting to the death. They refused surrender, knowing capture meant slavery or worse. In one 1842 raid, 3 women held off 15 soldiers for an hour, using bows and spears, as documented by Ranger Captain John Coffee Hayes. Their defiance stemmed from a grim reality: captured Native women faced abuse or forced labor. Historian John Moore argues that their ferocity blurred the line between combatant and non-combatant, challenging settlers' perceptions. Comanche women often led the punishment of captives, asserting their authority. After raids, they decided captives' fates, from adoption to torture. In 1840, women executed at least 7 white captives, using methods like burning or skinning, as witnessed by Booker Webster. Historian T.R. Fehrenbach explains that these acts were cultural, meant to damage enemies' souls in the afterlife. Women's role in vengeance, often lasting hours, was a powerful assertion of their status, equal in impact to men's battlefield victories. Matilda Lockhart, captured at 14-inch 1838, suffered horrific torture at the hands of Comanche women. They burned her nose and feet with hot coals to prevent escape, leaving her disfigured. By 1840, when returned to the Texans, she was unrecognizable, her body scarred from 18 months of abuse. Historian S.C. Gwynn notes that such treatment was systematic, aimed at breaking captive spirits. Matilda's case, one of 20 documented female captives that year, underscores the women's role in enforcing tribal discipline. Rachel Plummer, seized during the 1836 Parker Ford raid while pregnant, endured relentless beatings. Her newborn, born in captivity, was killed by women who saw it as a burden, as it slowed her work. In one defiance, Rachel fought a Comanche woman, grappling in the dirt and wielding a buffalo bone. This brawl, watched by 30 men, established her place in the female hierarchy. Historian Pekka Hämäläinen describes these fights as a cultural mechanism, with 1-inch 10 captive women facing such trials to prove their worth. The Comanche women's ferocity, forged in the crucible of relentless labor and survival, reveals a complex legacy. Their brutal acts against captives like Matilda Lockhart and Rachel Plummer, though shocking, were rooted in a cultural framework where vengeance restored balance and ensured the tribe's endurance. Historian T.R. Fehrenbach emphasizes that their actions were not mere savagery but a response to existential threats, from the loss of 12 leaders in 1840 to the encroachment of 1,000 Texan soldiers by the decade's end. These women, working 12 to 14 hours daily and fighting with the skill of warriors, were the backbone of a nation that resisted dispossession. Their story challenges us to look beyond stereotypes of native brutality. The Comanche, numbering 20,000 at their peak, thrived on the Great Plains because of women's resilience, from tanning 10 to 15 hides monthly to defending camps against overwhelming odds. Yet, their suffering, physical, emotional, and cultural, mirrors the broader tragedy of native peoples facing settler expansion. Historian Pekka Hämäläinen notes that their rituals, like self-mutilation or captive punishment, were acts of defiance against a world closing in. As we reflect on their strength, we must confront a profound question. How do we honor the resilience of Comanche women who sustained a nation of 20,000 against relentless betrayal, while grappling with the pain they inflicted, such as the torture of 7 captives in 1840? Their legacy, marked by courage and complexity, calls for our empathy and demands we recognize the indomitable spirit of the Comanche people.